disingenuous to say light pen weapons are just as good when they've been struggling to compete for so long. I think this misses many of the changes people have wanted. I don't are just as wait. I can solo super hell dive. The weapons are kind of falling behind. I don't. I just don't think so. I don't know.
This was shot in front of a live studio audience.
All right, it's falling behind against explosive weapons, but like, should a light pen should a light pen DMR like the Diligence, should that be as just as like as good, or how do you make it on the same level as an Eruptor? You got to break that one down to me. Like, does this is why I hate the light. We'll say light pen is useless, okay? And it's like, okay, what are we comparing it to? We're comparing it to like the Eruptor or something, or the crossbow, and it's like, okay, yeah, I will 100% agree with you. The crossbow outshines and outperforms the light pen weapon. Like, there's no competition there. But what do you want the light pen weapon to do to be on the same level? Like, what? How should the amendment? How do you make the amendment? Right? How do you make this on the same level as the crossbow? I want to hear how you would bounce it without making it medium pen. How would you make it? How do you make it as good as the crossbow? Or even on top of that, how do you make a medium? How do you make the what is it? How do you make the Adjudicator just as good as the crossbow? Or the Coyote? How do you make the Coyote as good as the crossbow? If you want to buff the light pen, this is what I've always said this. I don't think I've changed. I'm just getting tired of having the conversation at this point. I want to just make my one video about light pen weapons and then call it a day. If you want them to get buffed, bud, you get them buffed. I don't care, because if you get them buffed, I'll be just as fine as I am right now using them on Super Hell Dive, no problem, okay? That is, I don't care. My major complaint is when I see people, all right, say that they struggle to handle difficulty 10 or they are useless, and that I will always wholesale disagree with, because they don't. You can easily do just as good with someone using medium pen on difficulty 10 on any faction with light pen, no problem. That is it. You want them to get buffed? Hey, bro, go there. Go to the forum. Well, I don't know where they look for the balance chip. When they make the surveys, you go post in the surveys. Get them buffed. Okay? Get them buffed. That was not at all the context of what I said. Anyways, I came back to apologize for disrupting your stream. Don't worry. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just... Feels bad. In the end, we may disagree on light pen, alright? But you know what we do agree on? That all bots, squids, and bugs gotta die, alright? And even if we... Like I said, I genuinely don't care. And you know what? I'm sorry if you feel I misrepresented you. I'm just... Every time I see people, okay? In general, when I see people talk about... Just like how when you see people defending light pen, who will say that it's just as useful, just as perfect, just amazing, or whatever. When, you know, obviously there is flaws with light pen. I'm not going to say here it's the perfect caliber or perfect penetration, right? I see just as much as people saying that the weapons are useless and that every weapon should just be medium pen base and that some guns need to be heavy pen. And that is unironically what I see. So I've seen it so much that I just assume that you're also part of that club. And I apologize if that was a misrepresentation. Alright? The truth is that in my opinion, the guns are not useless. I think that they do struggle sometimes in the higher difficulties on some enemies, right? For example, it's kind of shitty that when I bring it and there's War Striders and there's what is it? Maybe on Rupture Strings with ARs, because I think the shotguns work perfectly fine on light pen, but the ARs I could see definitely being an issue. But I feel like that is not the fault of the gun. I think that's the fault of the enemy design and how Arrowhead has progressively, as time's progressed, that they're making more and more enemies with smaller and smaller weak points that don't do as much damage to the main health bar, that do or enemy doesn't even have any weak points, requiring you to bring anti-tank. So my thing is that we buffed the light pen weapons, all right, But if there's no weak spots for me to shoot on the enemy, they're always gonna feel bad because I can't take advantage of anything. All right. My issue is that when they do struggle, and then and then another thing is the points that I hear, right, for why these guns struggle, I don't even feel are like fair critiques of the gun, right? So I'll hear how a light pen weapon sucks against a Strider, a normal Strider, not even a War Strider. It sucks against a Scout Strider because when you shoot the leg, it takes a lot of ammunition to down it, right? So for example, it takes a lot of ammunition for me to shoot that leg off, right? Look, it took a lot of the mag. But then people will never admit that the whole point of the thing that you're supposed to be damn, he killed it, fuck. The whole thing that you're supposed to be shooting with this is the missiles on the Scout Strider, not the legs. The legs are your like last resort if you run out of missiles to shoot. But no one ever admits that or even knows that because they don't think. Or when we talk about how some of these light pen weapons struggle against squids, no one also brings up the fact that medium pen weapons struggle against the squids because the Overseers have adaptive armor and their design is a little flawed so that they're way tankier than your average unit. So it just sucks to go against them with kind of anything really, unless you have like a super high damage medium pen weapon like a Deadeye or something to one-shot them in the head. So I think personally, I'd rather just have the enemies be have like a little bit of a nerf to them, not in the sense that they don't appear as much, but I'd rather them just get their armor nerfed a little bit because it's ridiculous how much tankier they're making shit to the point where a lot of the players sadly do feel like they need to bring medium pen, even though that may not be the case. They just need to be more knowledgeable on the game. That is where I stand. That's why I always say when people tell me the gun's useless or they lag behind, and I hear a lot of the issues, the lagging behind issues that they talk about aren't really the guns. It's not the gun's fault, and it's honestly sometimes their fault. But I can't say that without being like a glazer or something. So sadly, I'm just tired of having the conversation at this point. And that's also why I don't. And it's also if you want them, and that's why I also said if you want them buffed, you get them buffed. All right, I'm not gonna be against you in getting them buffed, but I'm not gonna get mad at Arrowhead. Like I'm not gonna help you in getting them buffed, if that makes sense. Like I'm not gonna get mad at Arrowhead for making a light pen weapon, because like I can use them perfectly fine. There's no problem with it. I just think people need to know where you got to be shooting. The thing is that light pen weapons require you to have the gameplay knowledge of where to shoot. If you don't know where to shoot, they are definitely dog shit compared to medium pen. I will 1000% agree. If you don't know that when you go against a Scout Strider, you're supposed to shoot the missiles, not the leg, yeah, buddy, I think you should probably put the MA5C on. You probably shouldn't be using the amendment, 1000%. I needed that. Maybe I'll see you later. Be safe, FBI boy. It's been an honor. Anyways, back to the delivery man gooning on our pizza. True. Can we talk about that? Why is that guy shitting on our pizza, man? But yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at in the light and pen conversation. Like, everyone, and it's not even just normal people, all right? Because I'll hear Odo talk about how it's impossible to get behind a Scout Strider to shoot the pilot out when it's like, literally, I can do that shit with my eyes closed almost. I say almost because, like, if I actually close my eyes, I feel like I'd walk way farther than the Scout Strider. But you know what I'm trying to say, okay? Like, some of the complaints that I hear for why light pen weapons suck, I feel would be any other reason for why any other gun would suck. If someone managed to marry Miku, anything will be possible. True. Not only... I can't believe Sebastian didn't marry Miku. It was that one guy, to be honest. Kind of disappointed in Sebastian. It's pretty easy. It is pretty easy. It is so easy. It is unbelievably, retardedly easy to run behind a Scout Strider and shoot the pilot out. But he unironically said that in the video where he was talking about how people are glazers for liking the shotgun. He unironically said that, and I agree with 80% of his points about stuff, but then he'll say stupid shit like that just blows my mind or like grinds my gears. But yeah, there was definitely a better way for me to ask, so I get where you're coming from. I appreciate it. Now that we've hit common ground, feels bad. Where are you diving, okay? And if you're not diving right now, I must ask, why are you complaining about light pen weapons when you should be in these front lines killing these goddamn bots with us? Because we need the men.